I'm going to jump right in. John Krakauer obviously wrote a book about this expedition called Into Thin Air. Beck Weathers wrote his own book, Left for Dead, and you also were able to meet with Rob Hall's family. There's so many different accounts of what actually happened on the mountain on this expedition.
First when this project came to my attention around 2011, I started reading every book, and there are actually around 10, and way more, and endless articles, and most of them from people who were actually on the mountain. But they all tell a very different story. Because first of all, being on that mountain doesn't mean that you are paying attention to what's going on and you have your own perspective on it. And then I found out a lot of the time their head is so damaged, you know, basically they are mixing events up. And John Krakauer actually, and he had to rewrite his book because he made a mistake. He thought he had talked to Andy Harris when he passed him. But they found out, and they looked for him all over the mountain, but they found out actually later that he had never passed him. It was a different person he was talking to. So you can imagine how confused people are at that point. This made a very challenging adaptation because I really, I didn't want to necessarily make a first-hand account of somebody of the mountain. I wanted to tell the story of a group, an ensemble film. But we traveled, I went to meet Beck Weathers here in LA. He lives in Texas. It was incredible, meeting the man. And then we went to New Zealand, and we met there John Arnold, played by Keira Knightley. We met Emily Watson's character, Helen Wilton, Sarah, the daughter, and Guy Cotter, who Sam Worthington plays, and Carol, the team doctor, played by Elizabeth Debicki. And we weren't sure that they were going to do this for us, but they actually decided to let us listen to tapes that were recorded on the day.
The phone calls, the satellite phone.
Not only the phone call, the whole day. So
they kept everything.
They kept everything. All the radio activity to base camp, and then the phone calls that follow. And this was not done because people knew there was going to be something going on. They do this, I'm sure, to to improve their communication skills and their misunderstandings and how it can improve what they're doing. They hadn't listened to this for 18 years, They had put it away. It's a tragedy, and they put it away. I mean, you can imagine listening to this with these women, and Guy Cotter, this tragedy of their lives. And it was very emotional, incredibly emotional, but it was also very informational. Mm-hmm. Because now certainly we had access that no one had had before of every detail of what Rob says on the radio, and some of the others too. And that gave me kind of, I touched the truth a little bit, and it cleared up a lot of questions that I had. But from there, what I wanted was to get that truth into the script and not let, in all the respect, but Hollywood conventions to blockbuster movies dictate what the truth was, and create a villain and a hero, which didn't exist that day. I mean, the mountain is the villain, or the storm is the villain, and they're all, there's hubris, there's ego, all these elements come into play. I was very clear with John that I didn't want to sanitize those people. I didn't want to make an obituary, but I was going to humanize them. I was going to try to understand, why does Rob make this incredible mistake to let Doug go up, And I believe it's because of compassion, Because
he'd been so close before.
He couldn't take it away
before.
from him,
Right.
And that's the only reason to understand this action from such an experienced guide.
So you have in your mind what you think is a story that gets to the truth of what you want to tell as a screenplay. Now you have to make that a visual story. And I suspect one of the first conversations you have with your studio and working title is, let's film on Everest. And the first answer is probably, what about the Universal backlot? So in terms of wanting to be on, you're shaking. I was guessing, but maybe it's in terms of actually getting on the mountain and getting to locations that represented Everest. What did you and Salvatore talk about what you needed, and what were you able to get?
Well, oh, sorry.
Salvatore, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, Baltasar was very clear. He's like, I want this to feel really incredibly real. I want you, the audience, to feel like you're there on the mountain. And we needed to go to the mountain, see what it was like on the mountain, and find another mountain to shoot on to make you feel like you're there. And that's what we did. And he did not let that go 1 second, 1 day. And he was always the first one up the mountain.
But I mean, for me, it's like acting is reacting, okay? And when you make a film about man versus nature, part of it is reacting to nature, you know. And that was incredibly important to me to get that. I mean, I would have taken them up Everest, but there was no insurance company who was going to let me do that, right? And I have said it. It might sound, you know, like you know, I'm not a good person, but I don't mind a little bit of pain for the actors, as long as it's not injury, because I think, you know, I don't necessarily think a happy actor is an interesting actor, you know.
But that pain is a pain that we all went through.
Yeah.
We were there with them, and we did go up Everest, and we brought the actors up, what, 17,000 feet, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically we from the airport you see, Lukala Airport, which is the most dangerous airport in the world, on record. There was a helicopter who crashed while we were taking off and coming back one day, and from there we had to trek. You know, there were no vehicles allowed. We basically, from there on, all we got was yaks and donkeys, you know, on our own backs. And we.
So who brought up the star wagons for the actors? They didn't come.
The star wagons were unheated lodges and electric blankets to heat yourself in the night. That was the. And it's great because it's fantastic because it was like back to film school, you know. Now here you have Josh Brolin and all these guys, you know, carrying their own luggage, no assistants, and you know, and you know, it got them, you know, some of them were breaking down and wanted to say, I want to get out of here, you know, this is not the life I signed up for. But then they pulled through and you know, became like a team going up a mountain, you know, and I love that, you know.
And you actually cast real Sherpas too. I mean, so they are on the mountain surrounded by people who have summited it. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, the guy who plays Lobsang, you know, Scott Fisher's kind of assistant Sherpa, he has been 3 times on the top of Everest. He's never played in a movie, but he's been 3 times on the top of Everest. And I love this picture we had, like, we had you know, we're in a studio because some of the stuff we couldn't do, we had to do in studio. And we had like a real Sherpa. I've been 3 times on the top of Everest, sitting on a fake top of Everest, reading a script about the journey that he actually almost participated in. Like, well, that's absurd, you know.